6:30, April 10th, we're going to start the zoning board of appeals with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20F, this meeting is being recorded. First order of business is 29 Sanford Road, application of Ronald C. Richard for a special permit to convert an existing single-family home into a detached one-bedroom accessory apartment as allowed by recodified zoning bylaw section 954. Subject property is located at 129 Sanford Road, Westport, Mass, and is shown on Assessors Map 14, Lot 5. So the petitioner or the petitioner's representative, you can come sit right here. The way to run the meeting is the petitioner will provide whatever information he feels is pertinent. The zoning board will then ask questions. Once the zoning board has completed asking questions, then we'll open up to the public. So, voting on this petition will be myself, Roger Menard, Jerry Catino, Barbara Ponalillo, Constance Key, and Ray Elias. So, having said that, introduce yourself and then the floor is yours.
So, my name is Ronald Richard. I'm looking for the permit for the detached in-law. The last time I was here, the board, I think the square footage was only 750, and the board suggested that I withdraw without prejudice because it was known that I think they were going to go to 900, and that was going to put me right in with the first floor being 867. So I was going to have to request two separate things, and so I'm here this time because this is going to fit right in with the square footage which is allowed by the town.
With the new bylaw.
Right.
Right. Okay, so you want to describe exactly what it is you plan on doing?
So if you look at the level 1 floor plan, if you look at where it says existing stair to be demolished, install new wall to prevent second floor access, those stairs would be removed, and then it would be a pull down attic staircase to get up there. I wanted to have the architect draw it so it would be clear for the board.
So the downstairs is going to have like a living room, dining room, and a bedroom, and a bathroom.
Right, so the downstairs wouldn't change. It would remain the same.
Okay. And that is 860
Right, total square footage of accessory unit after conversion is 867.
Okay.
Can you clarify what you mean, what you said, downstairs will remain the same? Because my understanding is you're going to be removing the stairway.
Well, my apologies. I stand corrected. Right, right. As far as the square footage goes, it's going to remain the same, but the stairs will be removed and a hatch will be installed for the attic access.
If I remember right, that was our recommendation when we were there on the site visit.
It was?
That's correct, yeah.
That was
Yep.
the issue,
Right.
the primary issue in the past.
Well, that was
Right.
our recommendation, that he close it off and not use it.
Right.
So it'll be, so none of these, are these walls existing or not on the second floor?
Yes.
They are?
Yep.
Okay. So you'll just leave it for storage then?
Yeah. There's a radiator upstairs, there's one. I could take that right out. That's a very simple process, and then there won't even be any heat up there. There's not gonna be any reason to heat up there anyway, because no one's gonna be living up there, so I will take that out.
But you also mentioned to me, I believe, that the stairway, what is now a stairway, is going to be replaced by a pull-down, typical attic thing with like just regular stairs, not a stairway.
Correct.
Just a pull-down.
Right. Right. It says that over here on the plan. install new wall, and then new attic hatch with folding stair to be installed for storage access.
I just want it on the record.
Yeah, it's, okay. And then,
The upstairs has a bathroom?
Yeah.
it does. It's a full bath on the second
Right.
floor.
If you're not gonna heat that, I assume you're gonna, I mean, you're gonna worry, well, and not that it's a zoning issue, but you certainly don't want water upstairs.
You know what, respectfully, as a homeowner, I would absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Because I can't
Otherwise,
leave the
you're gonna
toilet up there with a sink up there and a shower.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have to, I'll just cap the pipes.
Except the pipe, yeah,
then-
otherwise you're gonna get frozen pipes and,
Right. So I can do that from the basement. There's shut-offs in the basement, which feed the upstairs. So I can just shut them off, purge the shower and the sink.
We
And
could
then-
condition an appoint, a decision to include that.
There is, I spoke with Maria, and Maria had, they said that the board wanted an approved septic plan. That is in place. Maria said she was gonna talk to Matt, and she was gonna notify the board that it was done, and it has been approved.
and do we have a piece of paper from them?
Maria said she was gonna give that to the board.
Is that what that,
Oh, that's the,
oh, okay. I'll read that into the, I will read it into the record then. This is from Matt Armendo, who is Board of Health.
That's the next.
It's to Maria Branco. Hi Maria, the project is approved for 4 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, house plus accessory. Matthew Armendo, Health Director, Westport Board of Health. So that is one of the conditions in
Right.
the,
And that was received today.
and that was received today.
I know there was also another condition in there. I think there was something about parking. So to the north.
Well, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna go through all of the conditions for a detached accessory apartment to make sure that you are in compliance with all this. You know, we'll do this, we'll walk through these once we've got sort of feel for where everything you're doing. So you're going to essentially make the second floor uninhabitable, and then you're gonna build another house on the same property.
Right,
This will be the detached
correct.
apartment.
Right.
And then, you're the owner now,
I am,
and you're gonna be living on the property?
I am.
Okay, because that is one of the conditions we're gonna come, is that the owner has to reside in either the detached or the main house. Okay, then why don't we go through, and I'll just read these, and you can just tell me how you're going to comply with it.
Sure.
Well, the purpose, the intent is to provide older homeowners with the means of obtaining rental income, companionship, security services, thereby enabling to stay more comfortable home and neighborhoods that they might otherwise be forced to leave. It's also to develop housing units in the single-family neighborhoods that are appropriate for households at a variety of stages in their life cycle, provides units for persons with disabilities, to protect stability, property values, and residential character of a neighborhood. So you're using this for, you can either use this as a rental or you use it for family. I mean, that is
Initially,
part of the
actually,
bylaw.
it's gonna be my aunt. Initially, she's 89, so, you know, she can go up 2 stairs because, like I was saying before, I expanded the driveway to the north so she can go in the front door. She doesn't even have a stand-up shower at the house. She gets in a Victorian tub. So there's, you know, it's gonna be all on one floor now. She has to go up and down the stairs at her house.
Right.
So, like I say, initially, that's the plan. So,
One of the things that we, well, I will get to that here in a second. Okay, the detached accessory apartment shall be a complete separate housing unit containing a kitchen, living room, bathroom, and a maximum of 1 bedroom. Only one accessory apartment may be created with a single-family dwelling or house lot. So your accessory apartment has bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, 1 bedroom. One of the things that we, in the past, we generally do is we require a deed restriction to restrict that apartment to always being solely a single bedroom. You have any issue with that?
No.
Okay. The reason.
Quite honestly, I don't want a lot of people there.
Well-
You know, God forbid something happens to my aunt. I really don't.
Right.
I'm not looking for a family with 3 kids and a dog running around my yard.
Right.
So,
Well, what we have to do, see, once we make a decision, the decision goes with the property. It's not just for you. If you were to sell the property, then the conditions for this decision have to, the following owners have to abide by it as well. So we have to make sure that for the life of the property, that there is just a single accessory bedroom. And that's the reason why the deed restriction, because then it's documented when somebody if you were to sell that property, they would see the restriction.
well, hopefully that's not the case. So,
Right.
this is my plan to, because it's on the water.
Yeah, okay.
The house right now is 900 feet from the water.
Right.
Because it's 900 feet from Sanford Road approximately to the water.
Hmm.
So I got the order from the state, the superseding order. So I'm outside the buffer zone, and so I'm gonna be able to build 100 feet from the pond.
Okay.
So,
It shall occupy no more than 2 persons. That's
This-
the accessory apartment.
right, so I only put in parking for 2 people.
Okay.
So when something happens, there's only room for 2 cars on a diagonal in those spots.
Okay. The owner of the property in which the detached accessory apartment is created must occupy at least one of the dwelling units. You already said you were
I'll be
going
in
to
the new
living
house,
there.
correct.
And the gross area detached shall be not greater than, actually, this is an old version, it's 900 square feet, which this is
67.
867, so you're in compliance with that. Off-street parking shall meet requirements of section 8.3, which says you have to have a sufficient off-street parking. You said you have 2 spaces for,
So I just it's in the construction right now. They're gonna come back and finish it tomorrow, and then the new driveway's gonna get done probably next week. But I expanded it so that 2 cars can park diagonally to the north, and then they'll be going in the front door instead of in the back door, which is on the water side.
okay. Okay, new construction shall, well, it's not new construction, you're not really changing the outside
No,
of this.
Not at all.
This next one just had to make sure that you're conforming to the height restriction, but you're not making any changes.
no.
Septic system must meet the requirements of Westport Board of Health. We just have that email from Matt saying that it meets the requirements. Any property that has been granted a special permit for a detached accessory apartment shall not be further divided unless all zoning requirements can be met for the district in which it's located. Just how large is the actual property?
2.5 acres.
2.5 acres. So what this says is you can't further subdivide the property unless you meet all the current zoning requirements for the property. So if you had 10 acres, you could still make
Right.
it, but at 2.5.
Well, I'm here because
you
I'm
really-
short on the acreage, so that's why I had to come in front of the board.
Right,
So.
okay. Okay, prior to approval of the special permit, the board shall make the following findings: that the detached accessory apartment shall not impair the integrity or character of the neighborhood. You're not really changing the outside of the...
Of the existing structure?
Of the existing structure.
No.
Right.
Not at all.
The detached accessory apartment shall not be detrimental to the abutting properties. And that's, so those are the requirements for the accessory apartment, other than the 800 square feet. And again, like I said, we generally do a deed restriction just to protect the neighborhood over the life of the property. Any other comments from the board?
Seems pretty
Any other
straightforward.
questions? We've been through this once before, so this is, obviously, blocking off the second floor is what really allows this to happen, because with the second floor, you'd be way over the square
Right.
footage.
Right.
But removing the staircase entirely
Yep.
that makes it then non-livable space.
For the purposes of particularly of our new members, it may be obvious, but we did an on-site on this property.
That was my first,
That was it?
yeah, my
Oh,
first
okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you were.
So we have a really good perspective of what we're talking about
Right,
tonight,
right.
better than usual.
Yeah.
You know, I thought about that. I was gonna take some pictures because to show the actual inside, and then I forgot, I remembered that the board had, which people were here the last time, I don't remember.
Okay, if there are no other questions, I'll open it up to the public. Any comments? Okay. Any other comments before we make a motion to close?
I just think that the, making the second floor unheated, uninhabitable would be a necessary part of our conditions.
Okay, since I see no other comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All that means is now is that the board will deliberate. We won't take any information in from the public unless we can ask questions, but you can't volunteer additional information. Yeah, the applicant has met all the criteria for an accessory apartment. I don't really see any issues with it. I mean, this was something that was voted in by the town several years ago, and the plan is to use it exactly what the town was thinking about when they voted it in, to allow, to have, keep family with you, or even as additional income, so that you can continue to reside in your house. Certainly, closing off the second floor is a requirement in this case, because otherwise it would have violated the 900 square feet. So, comments?
I think it's a good, straightforward project.
Okay, I'll entertain, since there's no comments, I'll entertain a motion to,
I'll make a motion to grant the special permit to Ron Richard to convert an existing single-family home into a detached one-bedroom accessory apartment as allowed by recodified zoning bylaws, section 9.5.4. Subject property is located at 129 Sanford Road, Westport, Mass., and is shown on Assessors Map 14, Lot 5. And in accordance with the plan submitted today, and that the provision that the upstairs not be heated and not be used for living space. And also that it be, a deed restriction be on the property.
I'll second that.
well, a deed restriction requiring that there only be a single bedroom and no more than 2 people.
Right.
So moved.
Yeah, I second it.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? No. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? No. It's unanimous. There is a 20-day waiting period.
Okay.
Good luck with this. I hope it all works out for you.
Thank you.
Semper Fi.
Good luck.
Thank you. Avi,
Oh, I thought it was the other way, yeah.
we're all doing the same job.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's Hua then.
What's that?
Hua then.
yeah.
Have a great day, yes. Thank you.
He was Marine, hey, he's got Marine stuff at the top.
You got a Marine haircut.
Yeah, that's right.
I got the Army haircut.
He's a colonel, he's a colonel too, he was up there.
You didn't for dinner, I guess.
Now I haven't, but I was like sleepy. I need to tap in. It's been a long day.
I started eating chocolate covered coffee beans.
Really?
You can get them at Portugalia. And they like, you have to go to the bathroom. So if I'm driving,
Yeah.
taking about 5 of those, and it's like a cup of coffee.
Yep, ready for you. Okay, the second item on the agenda is 1253 Horseneck Road, application of the Bayside Restaurant. Applicant and Nancy M. Carroll, trustee, owner, for a finding that expanding the outer seating area to include a non-deck shelled area approximately 1,800 square feet in front of the existing wooden deck where seating has existed for a long time shall not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use to the neighborhood as mandated by zoning bylaw Article 5, Section 5.2.3. Subject property is located at 1253 Horseneck Road, Westport, Mass., and is shown on Census Map 76, Lot 40. So again, the applicant can come forward, and it will be the same process as before. Applicant will provide whatever information is pertinent. The board will ask questions, and after we will open it up to the public. Voting on this will be Jerry Quintino, Barbara Pomalillo, myself, Roger Menard, Konstanski, and Ray Elias. So, floor is yours. Name and address.
Good evening. My name is Heather Bonet-Hebert. I'm here from Feingold Bonet-Hebert. Mr. Feingold was not able to attend tonight's meeting. He had a conflicting meeting in New Bedford, so I am here. He asked me to extend his apologies for passing it on to me to handle today. And this is my client. You want to introduce yourself?
Catherine Spivey. I live on 3rd Street in Westport.
And as you mentioned, Mr. Chair, we're here tonight to seek a finding pursuant to the Westport zoning bylaw, Article 5.2.3, to essentially to continue an existing expanded seating area that was expanded under the COVID restrictions to allow the tables, the same number of tables that have, or seats that have always been at the restaurant, to be spread out more, to have more distancing between the tables into a shelled area that's cordoned off.
Okay, I'm just going to read into record a letter from Ralph Souza, who is the zoning enforcement officer. Ms. Carroll, the expansion of the outdoor seating area to include an area off its deck would require a finding by the Zoning Board of Appeals. As per the Westport zoning bylaws, Article 523, pre-existing non-conforming structures or uses may be altered provided there is a finding by the Board of Appeals. Such an alteration should not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use of the neighborhood. That's what prompted this whole thing. I want to make it understood, though, that by the words substantially not more detrimental than the non-existing use, according to our legal counsel, that refers to things like safety, traffic, that kind of thing. It's not the type of architecture, it's not what kind of shingles you use, it's really more the safety aspects, traffic, those kinds of aspects, not being more detrimental to the neighborhood.
And I think certainly my client could speak to that, but as it exists right now, it has been used that way for the last 3 years since COVID. There's no expanded use other than just the spacing out of the tables. So there's no more seating than there was before it was expanded into that area.
But that was done because of COVID. COVID, the state allowed you to do more outside seating, correct?
Correct. It was expanded under the COVID rules to allow the tables to space out and to accomplish the social distancing for health-related reasons that people were trying to accomplish. So in some places, not particularly at the Bayside, but in some places that meant you could actually put more seating than you otherwise would have in the facility. At the Bayside, it's the exact same number of seats that they had before COVID and after COVID. Those, the state mandate on that expired when the COVID or recently with the expiration of the COVID emergency, but it still benefits the patrons and the community to have that extra spacing and extra seating for health reasons, so that you're not, right in each other's midst. So,
Okay, how many seats were allowed prior to COVID?
82.
Okay, how many during COVID?
82.
And this is all you're looking for now, a limit of 82? I
It-
want to make sure that's on the record. You want
Correct, it's the
82.
exact same number of seating that
Okay.
that's allowed, that
So
was
you're saying
existing
that you
before.
simply move tables away from each other more to allow more space.
There was a graphic in the materials we filed. I did bring a larger version. If anyone would like a larger version to look at. Anyone need a larger one? Just
No.
because I
No.
found it tiny.
No.
You would like one, or no?
No.
No, you're good, okay. So if you look at that layout, what we're talking about is the area that is in yellow, right up here. So it's just outside of the deck area. So same number of seats as before COVID, during COVID, and
My concern is how close this is to the road. Do you
and
know the dimensions from the property line of the road?
So on the, is it the west, on the Horseneck
On the
Road
east
side?
side.
It's the east,
East side.
yes, the east side. There's a buffer, it has some stone wall, and then there's some Rosa Rugosa that's in there. So I don't know the exact dimensions, but I'm guessing it's about 6 feet of buffer,
See, that's a concern as far as
which
safety.
could be extended.
Okay.
There's space for that.
Now, there's a stone wall between this parking and the road?
There's, I believe, maybe old railroad ties or wooden, like 6x6.
and just to be clear, it's not parking, this is
No,
just
that's the,
a table
Yeah.
seating
No,
area.
no, I
Yeah.
understand that.
Oh, okay, I thought
Yeah.
you said
But I'm
parking.
saying from that,
all right.
this seating area to the road
You're really close.
is about how?
It's really close, yes.
That's a critical piece as far as.
Okay.
Does it, do we have to have a setback for that? I mean, it's not a,
Well, because it's not a structure.
it's not a structure,
I'm not so certain, but it would normally be 25 feet
right,
minimum
minimum.
from something. But my concern is a little more that, I mean, I would love to see us be able to do this. But I do think that we have to mitigate some of the safety issues with bollards or some kind of physical structure. So if a car went out of control, we see it all the time on TV today, cars going through buildings and so
So-
forth. So I just think that's a concern that you might want to address. Plus, while I'm talking about that, is what we don't have here is a part of the plot plan that shows the dimensions of the lot, of the buildings and so forth. We normally would like to see that, and that way we can see whether it's 25 feet or whether it's 2 feet or 50 feet or whatever.
And where
So
parking
that
is.
should be a sketch. It doesn't have to be a fully engineered plan or anything like that, just something that's pretty accurate about the dimensions of setbacks, including, the restaurant where it is at the moment.
And you should also, yeah, we really should, as part of the plan, as Constance just mentioned, we should see where the parking is.
Right.
I mean, essentially, your whole layout, what does your whole layout look like?
Okay.
Again, and I agree with Jerry, it doesn't have to be architecturally perfect plan, just, we need to get a feel for where all this sits on the property.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
And just to be clear, and I think I understand the concerns and the safety concerns, but this is the expanded area that was already permitted and has not had any problems for 3 years now with that, the safety of the area. But I respect what the board is saying.
Right, but that permit now has expired.
Understood.
Now
So
it's a state permit.
what you're trying to do is make this permanent.
Correct.
So where the state has allowed it, and we all agreed with what the state did, that was, we lived in, unusual circumstances. Now we're trying to make the unusual circumstances permanent. And we have to make sure that we're all doing the right thing when we do that.
Understood.
I am gonna read though, a letter we got from Norman and Eileen Buck. We are glad that spring is returning, hopefully. Bayside will be opening for business soon, it's already open.
Yeah. Could you read the
This was
date
March 10th.
It's, yeah.
of 2016?
Yeah.
Oh, this is old. Yeah. That's why.
I
Okay.
didn't realize that was an old.
I didn't realize that. I should have looked at that. Okay, I'm not even sure that this is pertinent.
Yeah, I don't see much.
It's my understanding it was delivered to today as a duplicate, perhaps.
It was delivered today.
Mr. and
What-
Mrs. Becker here, correct?
Yeah. Mrs. Book is here.
I will read it anyway. We want to begin our season with good wishes and acknowledge that our difficulties over parking last summer were resolved. We anticipate that you will hold to your agreement to manage parking and limit cars to 20 feet past the telephone pole. It is our hope you will do what is necessary to make this clear to your patrons. Bayside is not the same restaurant that existed when we bought our property and built our home. Bayside has added a bar and allows patrons to purchase drinks directly from the bar in violation of the stipulation in the beverage license as approved by the selectmen. By ignoring the limits of the permit, your business has greatly expanded. Bayside is operating it by special permit in a residential zone. We continue to be concerned about the impact on us in the neighborhood. Let us know how you are planning to manage parking as your summer patrons' numbers grow. We believe this will avoid any misunderstanding. We love our home and location. Our customers agree that this is a wonderful spot to visit in the summer, and your good food will keep returning. We will work with you and ask that you communicate with us sincerely, Norman and Irene Buck.
We're here if there's any.
Right.
I have a question that I'm not sure that it's relevant or not, but with the relief that was provided under the COVID temporary matters, did that affect, should I say it a different way, did you have to revise your liquor license at all?
Not under the COVID. It automatically
it-
extended,
Exactly.
you know,
The statement
To it, but-
Now,
automatically
if this-
extends it.
If we were to approve this, you would need to adjust your liquor license because
That would be a
specify
separate process.
exactly
Separate process.
where
Yeah.
you can serve, right?
correct. Right now, they're not serving food or beverages in that area.
I guess my question is why? You're not expanding the number of seats. Why don't you just go back to the way it was before COVID? I mean, I was a patron there before COVID. The space was fine.
So the outdoor area allows for people to be more spaced out and not right on top of each other. So some of the indoor seating is moved more to the outdoor so that it's just spaced out more and people aren't so jammed in. But it's, you know, the same number of seats.
Yeah, so
People
it's-
tend to prefer the outdoor seating.
So
to
basically,
indoor
you're
seating.
not using your indoor seating during the summer? You're using,
We still use it. We kind of flip-flop.
But how do you
seats in and
regulate-
out.
because you really have more than 82 seats.
We don't
No.
have more than 82 seats.
So then-
We keep it capped at 82.
So then you must have to close the indoor seating at
So,
some point.
like, there were some days last summer where it was really hot and beautiful weather. Everybody wants to sit outside, so we would have maybe 5 tables available inside for those that wanted to go inside, but most people prefer the outdoor seating. And the
Right.
shelled area it's really beautiful, the view there too, and customers
Well, yeah, I mean, but everybody-
appreciate it.
Well, because we used to sit there and have a drink while we waited for our tables.
Yeah. Under COVID, you
Yeah, no, I'm
could-
talking about before COVID.
before
so-
COVID, no.
No, there was always that little shelled area that,
The shelled area has always been there, yes.
Yes.
But we've always kept alcohol on the patio, and then with
Well-
COVID, we were able to allow people to go in that roped off shelled area.
I'm just letting you know, before COVID, I sat in the shelled area on that little bench with a drink. But I'm not holding that against you.
Sounds like you got away with a nice.
I did, but I mean, the people sat there.
And you
so-
enjoyed it.
Yes, and it's an enjoyable spot to sit at, right, while you're waiting for your table. I just, it just seems that, to Jerry's point, the potential risks of the road being so close with actually no benefit for the business because it's 82 seats no matter what. Yeah, I'm concerned about the safety.
And I think we're
And the parking.
content with coming up with a solution with the bollards, some planters or something that provides additional safety measures to mitigate that concern.
And I'm also concerned that they're self-regulating what 82 seats they're using, so they have to close a certain amount of tables inside when they're fully at capacity outside.
That's not the impression I got. I thought that there's only a total number of seating
That's not
for
what you
82
just said.
people, whether you're inside or out.
Right, we literally carry tables and chairs inside and outside
So
every
there's-
day. You
there's-
can ask the wait
so there's
staff,
never-
it drives them nuts.
Okay, so there's,
But, you know, last summer we had, every Saturday was a rainy Saturday, so we would try to maximize under our canopy.
Right.
And our indoor seating for, we had 82 seats, so we'd try and get them in, even though it was a rainy day. It's a short season, so.
Well, you have plenty of space here in this area to put some sort of, you know,
Barrier.
barrier
Barriers.
on the,
Definitely.
on the street side.
Yeah,
They would have to be metal. I mean,
it would have to be something substantial enough to.
substantially in the ground to
Very
protect
safe.
it.
Absolutely.
You
I
know,
think
what they,
there's
sort of what they did at, in the last Apple store that went through, someone who went through, I think they actually, you know, physically had to put some pretty significant barriers out.
Hopefully they
I
can
think
be
that's,
pretty.
there's some
But
standard.
pretty, is that what you said? Yeah. We'll make them pretty.
Yeah. I mean, they have some that are very substantial planters, for example, that can, you know, withstand that impact if there were to be an impact, but it has to
Sometimes you
be.
could make a combination. You could put the tight, you know, bollard that's in the ground
Mhm.
and then decorate
Around
around
it.
it with, so it looks a little bit nicer than
Than a post.
Yeah. Or some of the posts, like you might see at Cumberland Farms or something, they'll have like the metal, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
The metal
Right.
posts that are
Yeah.
affixed,
They're
Yeah.
kind of, yeah,
and then you can
either
decorate around them, something
Yep.
like that.
hit the one Westport doesn't it?
I have a feeling it won't be too long before you're gonna see those required in front of every shopping
Yeah.
mall or something.
Is the same problem exists with this as well, right? I mean, with the existing outdoor seating, it's just that it's further from the road, right? So hopefully somebody who is losing control of the car can swerve, but
I think traffic's also going north and south. So I mean, they'd have to be incredibly out of control to swerve onto the patio.
yeah, well, have you seen some drivers out there lately?
Well, you say that, but on the other hand, you've got parking to the left and, well, to the south and north of this. So somebody coming around decides, thinks he's gonna go to the parking lot and then sees the parking lot in full and then, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
people do crazy
I understand,
things.
yes.
Well, that's how these accidents happen.
Right. They-
Somebody hits the gas instead of the
Yeah.
brake and things like that. So we need to be cognizant of that and try to avoid it when we can. Remember now, this is something that you're looking for that's out of the ordinary,
Right.
not normally allowed. I'd love to see us be able to do it, but I just, I think we have to be concerned about safety and like I say, a perimeter plan so that we can see where it exactly is on the property.
Okay.
And not just this, but the whole property and the parking. Now, we know that parking's difficult down there.
Mhm.
And fortunately, you're able to provide a lot more parking on the north side
Yeah.
now. And we might hear more about that, we might or might not, I don't know about the Bucks here, but anyway, that's a concern.
And to Councilor's point about you haven't had an accident in 3 years, that was the state mandate, that was the state's liability. It's the town that's going to allow this, and then if something would happen, it would be, they would look towards us and why did you let that happen?
So we just should try to mitigate it as best we can.
No problem with
If
that.
it gets
We can,
approved.
we're certainly willing to incorporate bollards and safety measures to accommodate that.
So does
concern.
that mean that you're gonna ask for a continuance in order to come back with plans and Because there's only two things we can do here. We
Right.
can either continue it or we can vote on it today. Those are the only two options we have.
So we should,
Yeah.
I would like to ask for continuance so that we can get the safety plan.
Well, I'd rather have them ask for the.
Oh, I know you would.
So my understanding is we wouldn't be able to get it approved today with the condition that it have an acceptable
Well, you're
bollards.
running
You
the
want to
risk of
see
it
it,
not being approved.
so then we would ask for a continuance.
Yes, we have a
to
form
that.
for that.
Yes, you
And there's
do.
probably an app on your phone for that.
Actually, I don't think so. I think these are forms.
Yeah.
They're paper.
But before we do that,
I think we also want setbacks as well.
yes, but
On the-
Yeah.
And I
I'm
think
going
we
to open
gotta
it up
talk
to
to
the
the
public now
audience,
because, just to
Right.
make sure that there aren't any other issues that should be
Yeah.
resolved. So
We would
uh,
like to get it,
So
to
anybody in the
address any
public come up to
issues
the
now.
microphone and name and address.
Is it on? My name's Norman Buck. I live next door, 1 Lee's Turn Circle. You have the letter from 2016, which was read. In the 8 years since then, pretty well, we've had parking under control relative. We own part of the field where they're parking north of the restaurant. And it was out of control for a while. We got to a place with the help of the attorneys, and we've been living in relative peace for the last 8 years. Our concern is whatever they do doesn't end up with more parking problems. It is a mess. They fill the field as much as they can, and then at busy nights, there's 10, 15, 20 cars parked on the road, up the road, on the other side of the road. Third Street's a problem. They have signs up trying to keep parking off of there. So that's our major issue. That, I don't know, I'm concerned about if they space out people more, they give more opportunities for people to come in and stand around and have drinks, which people like to do there. And I don't care about that as much as I care that they don't bring more cars. So, excuse me. So I'd like some assurances that, looking into this whole matter, parking is the biggest issue we have. And we've had other things go on, but I'll end at that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Question for you guys.
Hi, I'm Irene Buck, and I also live
Yeah.
next door. You were mentioning
Name and
something
address.
about numbers that I couldn't quite hear, because we had different information on seating numbers. And I think what I heard the chair say is that the existing seating right now is tied to space that was allowed during COVID, not the numbers before.
it's-
So the seating that is in the legal documents or the agreements that were made are
2.
2.
82.
Before COVID.
And that's the total amount.
Correct.
Okay, that hasn't
And from what they
changed.
said, that has not changed even prior to COVID.
That was the number before COVID.
It's
Okay.
been, it hasn't changed at all since,
Yeah.
Since
it's always
prior to
been
COVID,
82.
right.
Yeah.
That's important, as my husband said.
Yes.
The parking is a concern for us, not simply, because it's not organized. So it's
yes.
wonderful. It's the best place in the world to live, as far as I'm concerned. And certainly for the people that come to the restaurant, they have lots of reasons to come. But we do not want to see people hurt, and we have seen a couple of situations. If it wasn't serious, it was close. So I hope you include in your considerations, and I heard it mentioned here, safety. It's really important to our neighborhood.
Right.
I would like to get clarity on both of your comments regarding the parking.
So would I.
I'm hearing in one ear that since you've kind of straightened it out with them, it's livable. it's okay the way it is.
We're not
But I'm
opposed to the
also
business.
hearing that you're concerned about it.
Yeah. I think we'd have to explore that word livable, but I think that our concern is that we're not opposed to the business, and we know that there's going to be cars. It was a challenge to get it worked out. It took a while, but they do have space on their piece of land, but it's the cars that are parking on the road and the cars that are turning around. And so my concern really was the number of seats. If we're expanding seats, but if we're not expanding the number of people that can come in, then it's what the cars that will come and will stay need to be managed. And our understanding is that you cannot park on our side of the road, which is the Westport side. The cars are parking on the far side, the sanctuary side, which is Dartmouth. And I don't know if anybody supervises that. But there's usually more cars when the, summer comes and people are there that exceed the grassy area.
Yeah. I know,
And there's no supervision for it. So, you got to figure out what you do. But that's the way life is when the place is busy. We're not refusing what's going on. We're just saying your concern for safety accompany ours, and I hope you will stay with that because it's really important. There's a lot of kids.
I've eaten there several times, and I think probably all have. And in the summer, I don't think it's the seating that's the issue. It's people coming in, standing at the bar, not actually there just for a meal. And that's what adds to the number of cars that are there.
And then it should also, but isn't that capacity? I mean, like 82 seating, mean 82 capacity, not 82 seated and 25 standing.
Yes, but you manage that by tables. I don't know how you manage people standing. How you can say you can't stand here.
There has to be a fire restriction of capacity.
Right.
It's not 82, it's greater than 82 for
I
capacity.
believe the fire department capacity may be 120, but
That's
that,
almost,
Wow.
that's 50% higher than the seating capacity, which I think is significant. I guess, Mr. Elias, can you read the rules of how many parking spaces you need for capacity? I don't know if it must be we must have a rule of how many
Yes,
spots
there is.
we need.
And what you're talking about is fire capacity. How is the capacity addressed in your liquor license?
in the liquor license,
Yes.
I believe it's 82 seats. I would have to go back and
82
look at
seats,
that.
Yes,
And it
82.
doesn't take any accommodation for people standing around?
The
and
capacity is
visiting?
set by, I believe, the building department and the fire department. And it's almost like a separate,
I think
So
there's
you could
an,
have 150 people standing around drinking.
No.
120 they can have.
No, you said 82 seats.
just wait, so just to be clear, the policy of the Bayside is not, people can only have a beverage if they are going to be eating at the restaurant. It's not just to walk up and get a beverage and then leave and not eat.
How is that enforced?
Would you like to answer?
so we have a hostess most days. If not, it's myself or Alicia, my sister, who's there. You put your name in for a table and then you can go grab a drink while you wait, if that's what you want to do. A lot of people go for a walk
One space for
on the
every
Audubon
3 seats.
Society. They go down to East Beach. A lot of people drive away.
They don't
never
drive.
come back.
But the bar itself has no seating at it. It's a service bar that's primarily serving to the the waitresses who take it out. But somebody can go up and get a beverage while they're waiting for a seat after they've put their name on the list to get a seat.
And Kat, is that pretty well controlled by you?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, just one other point, if I could clarify.
27 parking
With-
spaces.
If I could clarify with the field off to the side with the
That's how many they
parking.
need.
All of the parking is managed on property owned and controlled by the Bayside. It's not, there's no parking that is being permitted by the Bayside on the Bucks property. They said they own part of the field where the parking is, but not where their parking spaces are. That's owned by the Bayside, or at least there.
How many parking spaces do you have?
Do you know the total?
I don't know that off the top of my head, no.
We can get that
So
for
that,
you.
so your parking plan, when you come with a new one, will show that?
Sure, yes.
Okay,
Now, the
can we,
truck that you have there, is that a registered truck?
It is, yes.
Yeah, because that's another issue. I think it's pretty neat myself, but.
also when you sell stuff.
Get the mermaid
It does
truck.
take up a
The mermaid
parking
truck.
space, and, which is what we're concerned about. And if it were not movable, it would also be considered an expansion of your physical facility. So I want to make sure you understand that.
Okay.
But I think it's kind of nice. I like the colors.
It goes places.
Yeah.
Okay, name and
Hi.
address?
Yeah, my name is Susan McQueenie. I live on 3rd Street, been there for decades. I'm 3rd generation. I'm a little confused. I think I got lost in the numbers with seating, that it's 82. So I thought at one time the deck was like 12 feet wide and had a canvas over it. And now it looks to be about 30 feet wide. And I thought initially, when we had the COVID seating, which was well managed, I go by it multiple times a day, it was spaced out on the deck. And when I went for takeout during COVID, most of the seating was on the deck. There is a nice little area with a fire pit. I've never seen that as a problem, but when I see 1,800 square feet shelled area in my history on 3rd Street, that's the parking lot. And I'm on, I have to go by like the delivery side where the trucks come and go and where the staff parks. And people being people, I don't care where you're from, there's a lot of aggressive parkers on 3rd Street. They're just gonna come in, they're gonna block the mailboxes, they're gonna cram in their private property. And the managers do the very best that they can, but they're outnumbered. Or whether a parking attendant would help, even a young kid that worked for the summer, or a more concrete barrier, like a cable that demarcates where one could park on the north side. There's also perhaps a little opening in back of the Bayside where the truck could park or some of the staff could park. I don't know, it might make it easier for them, open up another little space for employees only. And then commenting on the mermaid truck, I thought years ago the permit was to have arts and crafts in a building in back of the deck. And somehow that evolved into an office and a bar, and now there's a truck in the parking lot. And it's all fun. I ate there today, it was great. And it's all necessary, I think, because we don't have a lot of venues in the South End. But you lost me on the 82 seats. And I'm a frequent flyer up and down 3rd Street, so maybe if I saw a plot. And another safety concern is that the town and the state now have to respect, and I think we talked about this one time, the new bicycling, walking, agricultural vehicle law, where drivers give them 4 feet. Well, we all see the drivers nowadays, they give 4 feet at 45 miles an hour. And there's a lot of bicyclists in the summertime. Even in the disrepair that East Beach Road is in right now, there are a couple of college students that are rollerblading. How they get over those rocks and bumps, so like everybody that's paying attention waits, that's not staring at a phone or, and then they come down by Horse Neck Road. So I think the concerns for parking should be on both sides of the property within some reason, workable reason, so they can run the business, but I don't know. I've been there many, many years, and I just don't understand how people who come to eat and look like nice people are pretty disrespectful to the property owners. But we want to work with the Bayside, because it's a great place to go.
Okay, thank you.
What is the legal speed limit? Is it 35 on Horseneck or 30, 35?
I
The
think it's
residential zone's
35.
probably 35.
35 on Horseneck, 30 on Drift.
Maybe they should lower
Is
it
it not?
near, when you get near the restaurant where there's so much traffic.
Especially it's straight, so.
As somebody who walks on both of those streets, it is a speed limit, but 60, 65 is not unusual.
Right. Well, that's same
You
thing
know,
with
that's a
River,
bigger story,
same
more
thing with
police
River Road.
presence, yes.
Yeah.
So.
I guess Barbara's directed that comment to me.
You must.
And I know it.
You've changed.
A site
You
plan.
saw the look.
You have a site plan on file with the building inspector?
I would imagine we do, but I don't want to, I would need to check
Because
into
I
that.
think that's critical. Just in this last discussion with the Bucks and the last speaker, a couple of things. Where do your employees park now?
They park
On
along
3rd Street?
3rd Street on our property, in front of our dumpster.
Sort of
and,
from like the building to the road? or-
Beyond that, so there's the building,
Should I
and then
read it?
there's a section of fence, and then the dumpsters, and then
Yeah, I
even
think
more
they should know.
property.
So on the 3rd Street side?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that adequate?
Yes, the change of shifts gets a little tricky. They'll kind of double park and then go flip around when it's time for the day shift to leave.
This sketch that you have, and I didn't realize it until the last speaker, but I noticed that you don't have any dimensions on this, okay? You just have seats and tables and so forth. If we're going to be continuing, I would like to see actual dimensions, not only of, from the road to the property and all, but actual dimensions. And on the same plan, we should also be showing your parking spaces. So you could include the north field, since that's under your control, and so forth. But maybe we could formalize this a little bit more, and maybe that might take care of some of the issues of the neighborhood.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. And just to be clear, we didn't leave off dimensions out of any
No.
disrespect to the
I understand
board. It was purely because nothing is being built or changed from what it's been up until March 31st. And even, without that extra space, the seating would be exactly the same, and the parking requirements for the seating the same. So that was the reasoning behind submitting it this way, but we're happy to do whatever the board needs to comply.
Well, there have been a lot of changes over the years. I can recall when her dad came in here for what I thought was a pretty reasonable request to be able to have acoustic, two or three acoustic musicians sitting in what you're now talking about serving on. While people were waiting, they could have music and so forth. And unfortunately, this board had to turn that down, and in my opinion, unfortunately. And so at that point, they didn't have all of this, okay? So it's not like it's always been there, okay?
Understood.
The patio has been there for at least 25, 30 years. The building that the office is in used to be storage prior to when my dad turned it into an office. So these have all been here. This shelled area was probably in the 50 years used for parking at some point in time. And then again, it's been 20-something years that it's been not used for parking
It
and
was
for
probably
people
20
to
years
hang
ago
out.
that he came here.
I think it probably was.
Gary's really old.
Yeah, You're probably right. It's been there a long time, there's no question about that.
Yeah.
But during that time, Ralph probably has a parking plan for what that existed at that time.
Okay.
Okay, but Cynthia brought up the fact of parking regulations, and it actually states for restaurants, 1 space for every 3 seats.
That's
And
27
one
spots.
space for each 2 employees. So we don't have a plan of any of that, but a lot of this is pre-existing, so grandfathered in, all of those things. We understand all that.
I would like to see us work cooperatively with you to try to make it, but we also have to be concerned about neighbors, and we also have to be concerned about safety and some aesthetics, but not the color of the building.
And certainly, safety is important to the Bayside as well, so we're happy to get that for you. I'm filling out the continuance form now. We would like to request a continuance.
You gave her the, okay. We have to decide upon a date.
Did you, there's somebody else
No,
from?
is there somebody else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Janice Dye, 1031 Main Road, Westport. As a fellow restaurateur in town, I'm here to support the Carols. I think somebody mentioned that we provide a service to the town.
Yeah.
Okay? I can't tell you how many people said during COVID that, you know, the takeout, and that helped us. During COVID, our life has still not changed. It's like being in an arcade 24/7 playing whack-a-mole, okay? Fees, insurance, food costs, okay? We have to make hay when the sun shines in Westport, okay? And just another reminder to the town, we're one of the only businesses that are asked to collect a tax on top of our meals tax, the state meals tax of 7.25. We collected every month 0.75 and sent it to the town. We're not asking for a lot. We're just asking for you to help us, help a small business, and to be considerate of that. We're not gangsters. You know? We want to provide a service. The Bayside is an institution. We've all been there. We enjoy it, and please help us survive.
Thank you.
We love the Westporter too.
So what
Okay,
dates are
Dave.
available for continuing?
Well, I mean, the next date that the zoning board is,
The end of May.
the schedule is May 29th. If you want to go sooner than that, you can't do the second week of May because of town meeting.
I mean, we'd like to do it as soon as we can
Sure.
with it, because it's,
Season.
you know, it's
Right,
in
yeah, 'cause
season
we get
and
to end of
limits
May,
their
then it's 20
ability
days
to serve food
plus.
in that.
You're
Now,
ready
this will
in
be before
July.
Memorial Day, you want to get going.
And there's a 20-day wait.
If we do the continuance, we don't have to wait for a lengthy 2-week
No,
time span
We
for
can wait.
notice, because we've already done the legal notice.
right.
So it's a little unusual.
Well, how long is it going to take you to provide whatever, to put together whatever information that you think is necessary?
You need to get somebody qualified to do the safety thing, you know, whether it's bollards or whatever.
Yeah, I do have an architect that we use to do this CAD drawing, because that's not my forte. And he's a licensed architect, so he could help me with this, and I can't answer for him, but
Yeah, I mean, I
hopefully be
think
speedy.
we would try to get it done as quickly as possible.
Well, I mean, is that 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 10 weeks?
Like 5 days.
Right. How
So-
soon can we do it, in a week or two?
As fast as
I can't-
possible.
Well-
I
Yeah.
can't do it the 17th. That's next
24th.
Wednesday, so,
24th?
How about
Be
24th?
here without me, that's
I think
fine.
realistically, just because it's going to get, personally, I think it's going to get be highly, unless you really know the architect very well, to get anybody to do anything in 2 weeks is going to be pretty impossible. I mean, we've had that happened before where they asked continuances because they had to get a surveyor, and then they came back and asked for another continuance because they couldn't get a surveyor.
Well, they could try it.
Yeah,
And if not-
yeah,
We're also talking about
I would rather have
parking.
it be successful the next time and not having to come back.
Yeah,
The
but I
parking
mean,
plan
Yeah.
might take a little while, too.
not a- they have a lot of motivation.
We do. It's a short season. I'm pretty sure there is a parking plan. I just have
Yeah,
to
we just have
find
to-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
as soon as possible.
yeah, as,
Well, I mean, this is really somewhat up to you as far as when you could be ready and when we can accommodate that. Now, according to our rules, you paid for this petition, and a continuance, the first one, is free because we all understand that you don't always have all the right information the first time out. But anything after that, if we were to come in 2 weeks and you weren't ready, there would be another $100 fee to continue it after that, just to make sure that we all understand
We'd all
where
be
we are.
upset because we came in here for nothing.
Well, and would want to and might have to come in for nothing again, or come in again in 2 weeks. That's what I'm also going to say, right? If you come in, you say the 17th and you're not done, then we got to come in May 1st.
I think we can aim for 2 weeks and work aggressively to meet that. If we learn quickly that that's not going to happen, we
No, it
can,
doesn't work that way.
No?
When we make, this is a date certain.
Mhm.
When we put this, it will be on the calendar. We're going to be here.
okay.
Whether you're ready or not, we have to be here.
And you have to be here too,
Okay.
to ask for a
And if we're
continuance.
here and you're not here, then there's a problem.
Upset.
So what date is this?
Can you do the 24th?
I think we can do the 24th, yes.
I may not be able to be here that night, so would it be okay for Cynthia or George to?
As long as-
vote in my
as we have
absence
five
because they
people.
are
I will be
here?
in Virginia.
I'll be,
Virginia.
24th, I can't be here.
Oh,
We don't have
I
enough
guess-
people then.
What about the week after that?
Week after that. The first
May
of May?
1st?
Oh, you are,
May 1st?
I can do that.
Do we know
okay, yeah,
clearly
you're probably gonna want
everything
to
that they
go on
want?
that.
May 1st?
Are we clear on?
George, Cynthia?
Yeah.
May 1st?
I could do May 1st.
You can do May 1st.
Well, what if we went to 4 members on the 24th?
Now, then it would have to be unanimous.
Right, but I'm just saying, we
Yeah.
could provide them with that option. too.
And that's an option you have.
Yeah, I think May
That's
1st.
Yeah.
That's a,
May 1st, okay with Cynthia?
yeah.
And Constance?
See,
Jerry?
well, I gotta
Oh, doesn't matter, 'cause we each got one alternate, right?
May
Yeah.
1st?
Uh,
I think so.
Okay. So do you want to try for May 1st? Well, not try for May 1st. If it's going to be May 1st,
no.
we're going to be here
Yes,
at
Yes.
6:30.
I think May 1st is, makes sense.
It's okay. So you can write that in and then, well, first of all, you then have to read it to request the board to allow a continuance, because we don't have to actually approve it.
I understand that.
Okay.
So the petitioner, Bayside Restaurant, would like to request that the petition be continued to May 1st, 2024, so that we can provide the additional information that the board has requested. Specifically, I understand that to be a plan that shows the dimensions of the site, including the parking, as well as safety bollards that could be put in place to protect the proposed outdoor shelled seating area that's on this plan.
Setbacks and feet measurements, actual measurements.
Yeah, the dimensions for this plan.
Do you want dimensions for the interior of the space too, you're saying?
What do you mean?
Nothing that's changed, the building itself, even if it's not changing, or?
Well, no, the dimensions, it's 25 feet wide by 10 feet. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
Right, for the outdoor area and the parking area and the lot?
No, all of it.
Interior, that's what I was asking, do you want that, the interior area?
Well, it's not the interior. There's a building. The building
Yes.
is 24 feet by 10.
Got it.
I mean, it's,
Yeah. You can get that,
Whatever it is.
you can get
The
a
footprint of the
proper
building.
record card.
Right,
get your
the
tape
footprint of the
measure out.
building
yes.
And the
That doesn't-
setback.
I don't need to see the radius for the,
Jerry.
you know, or how big the doors are or whatever. It's just, you know,
Okay.
outside dimensions.
Remember that the setbacks are from the property line, not from the paved road.
Right.
That doesn't have to be an engineered plan, right, Jerry? That can
No.
be gone, yeah.
It's,
No, as long as it's reasonably detailed. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't want some scratchy thing.
Oh, really?
I mean, this is gonna be part of the
Can't do it.
permanent record.
Okay, so
okay.
A plan
I
would-
guess the best way to say is just remember you're in a non-conforming situation. So anything you do is gonna be addressed.
And I'd like to see the setbacks from, yes, where's your picture? Where's your
Put it
picture?
away.
I'd like to see the setbacks from the road to the building itself, as well as to the existing deck.
Well, the setbacks are based on property lines.
Right.
So wherever the property
I want to
lines
see,
are.
what I would like to see is that from the property line to the building and the property line to the existing deck.
Right.
That's all, in addition to the property line to the shelled area.
The shelled area.
I think that could be positive.
Okay, so,
Can I ask a question?
yes, you may.
What, are there any rules, or what are the rules of parking off the property? There's
There is none.
There is none.
15 cars
Yeah,
parked
and
up along the
that's a
road.
problem
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
You
Everywhere.
know, in front of my house, you know, neighbors. I mean, there's really no regulation about.
Just wondered if you had any jurisdiction over
Nope.
there.
No.
You had no?
We wish we did.
No, we don't. And I'm
Over parking on the
parking
street.
Yeah.
on the street.
No, but I do have a suggestion. If it's an issue, you can go to the police department,
Mhm.
and the police safety officer
Yeah.
reviews it, and they may put a 30-minute limit, or 2-hour limit, or no parking from here to corner, whatever.
Right.
They do that. They've done that at the head
Yeah.
numerous times and changed it numerous times.
Well, they used to park on our side of the street, up quite a ways up past our property, and that's been changed, so they all park on the Dartmouth side.
Mhm.
So I don't know what the jurisdiction is on that. Anyway, that was my question.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Should I
so-
restate my motion?
So we have a motion. We have a request. I make a motion that we grant the continuance to, what do we say, May
May
1st?
1st.
May 1st at 6:30.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, no. It's unanimous. So we'll see you May 1st.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hopefully we can
Thank you all
resolve
for
this.
your time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No, that's, I guess I better put that in my calendar.
That's the only one we have for that.
Yeah.
And then if for some reason you're not ready, you at least need to show up to ask for another
I
continuance.
understand.
Okay, so make sure.
No, I absolutely, and I respect
Yeah.
the fact that you guys are all volunteering your time to be here.
We
So
get
I
paid
will,
royally to be here.
and I will be here no matter what. Thank you so much.
Okay, next order of business, we have meeting minutes for March 20th. Maria has put together the meeting minutes, which, fairly short meeting minutes. I make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes of March 20th, 2024.
Second.
Good. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Write this up. This time I will hand it to you, Maria, so you end up on my package. Okay, request planning board for comment regarding 461 Old Harbor Road. Okay, anybody got any comments on the,
I'm confused.
okay.
If you go to the property record card of whatever, 430, whatever, because my eyes are too small.
It's adjacent to it, yeah.
Well, actually,
No,
it's,
that-
no, it's 461 Old Harbor Road. 635 is where Charlie lives. If you go to 461, the lot is 8.19 acres. So I don't understand, which is the lot 2. I don't understand where lot 1 came from.
We're talking about the Marrow property here. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So there's multiple Merrow property. This is not the subject of the other Merrow issue. So this is mapped 87, lot 5, 461 Old Harbor Road. If you go to the property record card, that lot is 8.1 acres. Lot 2 here is 8.1 acres. So where did the other 2.76 acre lot come from that wants the flexible frontage?
I haven't
That's,
seen this yet. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I've got it, but I haven't.
and not to mention Charlie Merrow doesn't own the property, it's in a trust. He
Is
may
it
be bet-
possible that this, is it possible that this is proposed?
No, 460, yeah, it is, this is what's proposed. They want this 8, there seems, what it looks like, if we would actually have some more information maybe from the planning board, that they're trying to split these lots into 1 and 2, and then this lot 1 would only not have enough frontage, and they're asking us for a flexible frontage for that lot. And this second lot would be, so you got lot 1 and lot 2. But if you go to the property record card of 461 Old Harbor Road, it is only 8.19 acres, so I don't know where this other piece is coming from.
Yeah, I see.
That is it a pre-existing lot, and there seem to be sort of lumping it into the fact that it's 2 lots and they're trying to split it.
2.5 acres missing someplace.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah,
And on the record card, it also has some subdivisions listed on there, but again, I don't know how to read the property
We
record
could send
card.
this back to the
Yeah.
planning board with a comment saying,
Like, if they would have sent us more than this, it might have been nice, right? I mean,
Right.
the whole paper plan, but, and then just to make a point to the board that Charlie Merrill does not own this property. This property is in a trust, and it says it here, Notice Hill Land Preservation Trust. It's a nominee trust, he may be the beneficial owner, the beneficiary of this trust, but we don't have access to that document. So the fact that he's presenting this as his property, I find slightly offensive. Because he is not legally able to act. There's a trustee that should be acting. That's all. Those are my 2 comments.
Maria, can we just make a comment to the planning board? What Cynthia just said.
But from the point of,
You want me to write, let me send you an email tomorrow? Just to you, then I don't want to run afoul?
we don't have an issue.
Right.
Right, if it's just to you?
Discrepancies.
We're
that-
just
So it's just basic,
pointing out something.
yeah.
Right.
Like, I just don't understand the plan. I mean, I'd have no problem with the flexible frontage, but it seems like,
There's
Like,
a
there's-
discrepancy between the,
I think this subdivision happened before, and now they're trying to lump it all together. I don't know,
Yeah.
but,
Yep.
and I don't know if it's Charlie or if it's, what's his face?
We have, are you on
Yeah.
to the next thing?
yep,
We have a hearing coming up. It is, in my opinion, unexpected and interesting.
well,
And I don't want to discuss that hearing tonight. However, I noticed that we have asked the town attorney to be available on that night because it is potentially a legal question. But I would like us to consider sort of fending off the thing before we get to that night and then sit here and spend hours talking about it. A very simple question, and that would be to ask our town council ahead of time now to address the question, can a detached, an approved detached unit, and I think we could even expand it to attached as well, even though it might be in the building, legally be condoized.
well, that was one of the reasons why we were gonna contact town council. For just, exactly for what you're just,
Well, no, but it's, our question to him was for him to be available. at
Well-
that.
Well, I
And
sent
I'm
out an email
asking-
today.
Huh?
I sent another email out this morning. You might not have seen it.
No, and what does that say?
Attaching copies of what was filed.
Mhm.
Okay,
And for
I-
him to
I- I-
review and
I
comment.
didn't want it
after.
related directly to that case. I wanted to ask it in a general
in the general,
way.
yeah.
But, because I have looked through every piece of that bylaw,
Mm.
and I do not see any violation of any kind. And I think that's eventually a big deal, one way or the other. I mean, condoization is just a form of ownership. And just like making it into an LLC or whatever. And so, anyway, I thought it might save
Right.
a
Well,
lot of time.
right, and again, as a more general,
It runs afoul of our bylaw.
as a more general issue is that when we make a decision allowing something to happen, and in the future, if they come back and want to change that, then that's essentially abrogating the original agreement. And what recourse do we have in that situation? Are we allowed to essentially reverse our decision from previous years? That's essentially what it is. So, but that's a very general
Not the
question.
sponsorization,
Yeah.
which is exactly why.
Yeah.
We have a residency requirement. You can't have, if you make it into a condo and sell it to a third party, you've run afoul
But
of,
the third party is an owner
no, it's
in a
not.
condo.
No,
Of course he is.
no, it's up for sale for anybody to buy. Look on Zillow, look on realestate.com. It's for sale to a third party, none related to the LLC.
That's why I want to get a town council opinion before that night, so we don't have prolonged discussion, a lot of expense. Let's just find out.
And just so you know, the deed restriction is recorded. So anybody who would buy that would be a freaking stupid person, but that's
So
beside.
what's recorded?
The deed restriction, that you have to,
What does it say?
it says that the person who owns all the property has to live in one of them.
It says all the property items.
Yeah, yes,
All the property.
yes.
You can't have more than one owner of a property?
You can have more than one owner, yes.
Subdividing, ain't it?
No, that's not a subdivision.
But it has to be, but not,
Separate owners.
they would have to buy the whole lot together, not just the piece.
Okay, but I don't want to get into a lot of
No, I
details
agree.
about a future
I'm
petition.
trying
But
to
we do,
avoid
we
a lot of
we usually
expense.
do talk to our town council prior to, so that he understands what the issues may or may not be. And again, and I agree with you that this is more than just a single, it's really a matter of policy for the
Everyone
future.
we've done can
Right.
do this.
Right.
Roger, can I bring this up, Roger?
Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead.
In the past, last year, we reviewed legal fees from what we were using, and around March 15th, I went to the selectman's office, reviewed what's happening now, and they've changed their way of handling the legal budget throughout the town. Each department now is responsible for X, Y, Z, and I asked for July 1st till around mid-March. We spent $11,835.
It's nothing.
But the thing that's important is they're charged specifically to the Zoning Board of Appeals. 435 Old Harbor Road, $6,345. 51A Drift Road, $112.50. Short-term rentals, $1,327.50. And Spinnaker Way, $4,050. And we're averaging around $100 a month for legal fees. Well, it doesn't matter. We could use 20,000. I'm not saying that we can't.
But
Well,
the-
what it does is, it separates out the legal budget that might be in the total town budget as who's using the most now. And it's not us, just so you know, okay?
No. And, I mean, the Spinnaker Way is interesting because once we denied the petitioner, then
So is Old Harbor Road.
yeah, but the thing is that most of that Spinnaker Way wasn't for the zoning board. It was
Right.
after the zoning board issued its decision,
Right.
and then the town had decided they wanted to go ahead and sue, so we shouldn't be charged back for that. But I know who's gonna be spending the most.
Okay, the next thing I want to discuss is the zoning bylaws that are going to come in front of the town meeting. Has everybody been able to review at least the short-term rental part of it?
Mhm.
Yes? Does anybody have any issues with any part of it that we need to discuss?
Well, as you have indicated earlier, there's very little to enforce. There's not much there. And having a minimum of 7 days, or if they change it to 5 days, or whatever it may be, is a big help. But that's about it.
Right. What I would like to be able to say then is that the board supports this, or doesn't, however what we would think. And I know, Cynthia, you asked it about the last time, is, because one of the things you do at a town meeting is somebody can propose an amendment. I would be in favor of this particular bylaw, as long as it stays relatively the way that bylaw is without major amendments. And I wouldn't be at all in favor if that, the one thing I think that is really important is the minimum stay. I think it's got to be, in my opinion, at least 5 days. 7 days, I think, is really good. I wouldn't want to see it go less than 5, because then you run into it's this long weekend thing that you worry about party houses.
Well, I think the town meeting body's got to understand that if we don't do something here,
Yes.
it's really a
Yes, right. So,
big old-
how does everybody else feel about that? As far as the,
I have I guess the biggest problem I have with the 7 days is that off-season, I've used weekend Airbnbs for my family because I don't want them with me, right? So they're staying with you.
You know that.
I don't care. So, do we want to put, I understand during the summer, 7 days, you're not going to get enough, you're not going to get a weekend in the summer, very rarely, they're all booked for the week. So I'm not sure if this, the 7 day does affect outside the summer, which I would say would decrease some of the partying that goes on in the weekends, but I also think there's a need in the area to have 3 or 4 day rentals, especially around graduations at the University of Dartmouth or in all the community schools, where it provides a service to people coming into the area, right? And it provides rentals to the people who are renting that they otherwise wouldn't have. And that's my biggest concern of the 7 day. But I do understand, I do agree with you about the concern of when it's in the summer especially, and it's a weekend, it's only a party house. But I just don't see many houses really ever being available just for the weekend in the summer. They're all usually, the ones that are up are usually fully booked. I mean, they're probably all fully booked right now if you look on Airbnb. You're not gonna find a weekend rental, and certainly not a weekend rental. I just think the shoulder seasons, are maybe just as vital as to the individuals as the summers is. But if but I'm still a proponent of passing something, and if it's going to be 7 days, I would support that, because I think the majority of so many people will be affected if we didn't have anything, because that means they're not available. And I think most of the people most of the historical Westport rentals, that would really be hurting families if we didn't allow the rentals or 7 days or more anyway. So it would maybe prevent people from saying, hey, I'm just going to rent it every once in a while. And then maybe that's what we want to prevent. So I'm torn. But I guess next time my sister comes into town, they're staying with you.
The only thing I'm bringing this up because, like I said, it's when it comes up to the town meeting, I will probably be the one announcing this one, and saying that the board generally, agrees, with, with this bylaw, because we need something, and this is,
Beginning.
provides, well, first of all, it allows it allows short-term rentals, but it does provide some protection to the neighbors, which is what we're always concerned about, is the balance between protecting neighbors and allowing short-term rentals. And this, at least, does provide a significant part of that, especially with the provision that it's, some number of days. I think 5 is okay, 7 is okay, much less than that, I don't think provides protection.
No, I don't either.
So, and I would like to be able to say that the board agrees with that or doesn't agree with that. That's,
Well, I think we do agree with that.
okay.
Some minimum, but I'm not sure that, that number, whatever the number, but the number in the warrant right now is 7.
7, yeah.
Okay? I'm not sure that's amendable because,
Why? You can amend it by just
It's
saying
like
delete it.
it's,
Okay.
it's just like if you're spending money, the town moderator will not allow you to amend something that would spend more money because it's not within the 4 corners of.
Yeah, we amended last year. There was amendments made, not zoning amendments, but there were amendments made
Yes.
on the fly regarding the funding of the, the old high school or something. Amendments were made on the fly
Oh, yeah.
by a person, a citizen standing up and saying that
And then we had to discuss the amendment.
Well,
and-
okay.
I think
I
that
preface
that's
my
amendable.
remarks by saying, I'm
Excuse me?
not
I think
sure
you
that
can make it.
it
Oh,
can be
yes.
amendable.
So,
Okay?
anyway, I just want to have my
In other
bases
words, if
covered.
somebody says, I want it to be a minimum of 1 day,
Mhm.
are they gonna allow that to even be considered?
Yeah.
Somebody else says, I want it to be a month.
Mm,
Well, a month is
Are they
not a
gonna
short-term
allow
rental.
yeah.
that? What's that?
A month's not a short-term rental. It's regular rental.
Oh.
It falls outside of
A month
this.
is
No, 30 days.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
31 days
Yeah.
cutoff.
Okay, so I'm going to take this, my marching orders is that the zoning board supports this zoning bylaw as is. And if it does particularly come up to a change of the number of days, if it gets to be something like 2 or 3 days, that the board doesn't support it.
But even if it gets to be 4 days,
4
we don't
days,
support
we
it.
don't support it.
Yeah,
So,
we'd really like to see it be 7, but
right, okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Some emphasis needs to be put, I think, on the fact that if we don't pass it, everything's illegal, and we're gonna have a ton of applications.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
As a matter of fact, I have a call in to town council
Lots of legal
specifically
fees.
in regards to that,
Yeah,
regarding the legalities of all this as far as going forward now with the town and the zoning board all understanding now that technically short-term rentals are illegal. So what should we do about it if this doesn't pass?
that's right.
We need to understand that.
Yeah, that's the way it should be said.
Oh, yes,
And-
absolutely.
but At the same, well, I guess.
Okay. Any other?
Yeah.
Any
Well,
other?
and what was the pushback when you guys were doing this? For this time limit thing?
Oh, well, first of all, that was one thing we did not, so I think we just did 3 days, but we did, the subcommittee had a lot of other aspects of the zoning bylaw. Like, for instance, you had to be a resident, or there was some residency requirement. There were some other things that got trimmed down by the planning board when they had, we also had public hearings. And of course, the renters, they didn't want any restrictions, outside.
Some of them wanted some clear-cut guidelines, because they knew the alternative, right?
So,
And I think they must have come up with, I think the 7 days got put in after the first hearing, so it must have been part of the second hearing, which we're mostly concerned citizens,
what I was
and
gonna say.
I didn't
Were
go
people
because I
out there
wasn't.
saying things that it could be, it should be 3 or it should be 4?
Yeah, I wasn't involved in.
I watched all the hearings, I don't remember that.
Yes, I don't,
Well,
I wasn't
can
involved
tell
in that.
There were quite a few real estate interests.
Yeah, the girl across
Real
from
estate
Lee's was there pretty
brokers
consistently.
Or people that did just these short-term rentals. But anyway, it was actually one of the more vocal real estate agents who
Right.
suggested a minimum of a whole weekend, so that you didn't have the one-night kind of bachelor parties and things like that. So that's what kicked off that discussion about minimum number.
Yeah, I mean, and to my concern of not in the shoulder season when people really only need it for 3 days, if the folks who are renting the place really want to rent it only for 3 days, they can charge 3 days rent and you have it for 7 days and you just don't use it, right? So it doesn't, I mean, I can rent something right now for a week, but only be there for 3 days,
Yeah,
right? I mean, that's, that's under, and if so, getting my concern of they're going to be losing some rentals, weekend rentals, but in reality, they can structure it so it stays within the guidelines and still get the,
Right, right. Yeah, I understand.
money out of it.
In actuality, I think to be practical, if this didn't pass, people are still gonna keep renting and they're just gonna take their chances. Because the only way they're gonna have a problem is if a neighbor complains
No,
about it.
And there are some stipulations.
No,
in
the
there.
problem is when we get a check from Airbnb, then we know.
Who's the we? The town?
The town. The
The
town every month gets a check from Airbnb.
Well, it gets it from the
and-
state.
And
From
from
the
the state, from the state.
But
So-
it's not categorized by
Yes.
address.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
yes, yes, it is.
We weren't allowed to give the.
Well, it's
address.
done
No.
by street, but the
Main
state
road.
knows. And-
It's by
yes,
road,
it's-
but you
yeah.
still know who it
We're
is. I
still
mean,
talking about legal issues, and that's
Yeah.
why we're gonna talk to
Yeah.
town council about this. So is there any other business, old business, new business, before we?
I just have a question in terms of like what happened this evening. I've thought about this before, but I might even ask about it. But is there, we have like guidelines that sort of help people put together their petitions, and I wonder if we could encourage people or suggest that they, when they're turning in a house plan or a plan like the people did this evening, if they, encourage them to do a lot plan to show where the house or where their proposed changes are within the whole lot. So, because we've had that happen before. Yeah, where people come
I'm
in
kind of
and-
surprised.
Wait a second, and so that we, so they don't have to come back, so they know that they need that from the get-go.
I thought we had addressed that in our instructions. But we could look at our instructions again, and if it doesn't say it, we can put it in.
I thought it did, but I don't know.
thought
mean,
It's not in the application.
It's not.
And this is kind of like, it's not something that comes before the board all the time. If it's an accessory apartment, or if they're doing something to a main structure, or they're building something else, typically, if it comes to me first, before it gets filed, and they don't have the plans and the site plan, where does it sit, and, I typically tell people that.
Right.
This is what the board would like to see, dimensions, setbacks, all
Yeah,
that
but
stuff.
planning is pretty important.
Yeah, but for a restaurant to come in and have this.
With the lawyer,
and-
yeah.
With a lawyer, and then not have parking and not have a whole, it's sort of unusual.
Yeah.
That's bad legal counsel.
Yeah.
It was bad counsel. They should have known. Like, they did the right thing. They got an attorney, and then the attorney said, this is what.
Right.
What?
I thought we had.
Yeah. But I do want to say, to the same effect, the 129 thing, this at Stanford Road, he actually took our advice he made it bigger. Remember the last one? It was like tiny. And he also delineated what wasn't measurable space, the closets and the foyer, like we told, like he actually listened and actually presented a plan that actually had our concerns
Right.
from before, which was, I thought was nice.
Yes.
Okay, anything else?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is this your last?
Thank you, Val.